Pokemon is no longer for kids.
Hello, I am the real-life fake wizard. On January 12th, 2026, LEGO and the Pokémon Company announced their first official collaboration. 3 sets, Eevee for $60, Pikachu for $200, and Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise together for $650.
Now here's the dealio. I know Wizard got a hate boner for Nintendo, and understandably so. They absolutely do. Me and Moxie talked about this a little bit on Monday night, and I didn't give a whole lot of thoughts on it because I was still trying to like parse through them because there's some good and some bad here. So I'm wondering how Wizard's gonna attack this because he titled this video "Pokemon is no longer for kids," and that's both true and untrue. So I want to see what the way he attacks this because Pokemon is not just the problem here. LEGO is also equally culpable, but Wizard's a smart dude, so I imagine he will bring that up. Yo, Ezra, shout out. Thank you so much for the gift of membership, man. Truly appreciated.
$650 for plastic bricks shaped like creatures from a video game that costs $70 and is rated E for everyone. Now, I know in my heart I shouldn't need to do a video explaining how this is a bad thing. Like, most of you who see this are probably going to agree with me. This is absurd, but we need to cover it here because this thing is going to sell out. All of this stuff is going to sell out. We know people will jack up their grandma's credit cards to get this. And
I'm curious about something. I'm curious about because he talked about the $650 original starters. How much was the Lego? Yeah, Millennium Falcon. $100 smaller sets like the 25th anniversary versions. Yeah, over $800 for the massive Ultimate Collector series. How much for the Lego Death Star? Over 1,000 years. Again, I don't know all the details on this yet. I would like to. That's why we're watching Wizard's video. But price-wise, this seems to be more of a LEGO problem than a Pokemon/Nintendo problem. Like, it's probably both. It's probably both. But I'm wondering how much he'll attack LEGO for this as well, because this does seem to be a LEGO problem. Ocarina of Time. Let's see how much the Ocarina of Time set was, because I was interested in the Ocarina of Time set. Yeah, dude. The Deku Tree set, $300. $300 for the Deku Tree. You know what the Deku Tree set looks like? This. $300 for the... Bitch, get out of here. $300 for this. Like... So again, when he titles his video, Pokemon is not for kids anymore, I agree and disagree. But I want to make sure that he does acknowledge that LEGO is equally culpable.
Commercial? Oh, the commercial is beautiful. It shows a millennial at it.
Well, obviously I'm jumping ahead. We're 50 seconds into the video. I'm talking about my opinions. This is a reaction video. Obviously, I'm not just gonna... If I just want to sit and watch Wizard's video, I can fucking do that on my own time like I usually do. But it's part of the stream, part of being, a fucking content creator. So I would appreciate not telling me what to do with my fucking job.
Desk surrounded by bills, taxes, the crushing weight of adult responsibility, and then the escapism of building Lego Pokemon. Nostalgia washes over him. He's a kid again. He's happy. The unspoken message? Hey, remember when you were happy? Remember when life was simple? Well, you can buy that feeling back. It's only $650. Forget about paying your bills. Buy plastic pocket monsters instead. This is a terrible kickstart to the Pokemon's 30th anniversary. This is LEGO, Nintendo, and the Pokemon Company essentially saying, bend over. And the worst part is that hopefully not some of you, but many people are looking back over their shoulders and saying, am I leaning far enough? Today's indie game shoutout is Pilfer, Story of Light, a 3D platforming journey featuring a cute raccoon that must save the forest from darkness. Master dozens of different level mechanics as you run and jump through course-based worlds, saving other animals along the way. To learn more about this game and hundreds of other indie games, visit our new indie game discovery platform, fakeportal.com, or scan the QR code on your screen. Now back to the video. Let's break down what they're offering. And I mean, really look at this. Eevee is 587 pieces. It's $60. This is the affordable option. Like, that's the...
All right, so yeah, Eevee, all right, so $60. Yeah, 587 pieces. Let's just look at what the average Lego that's about that. All right, Lego 600 pieces set. Lego set 600 to 999 pieces. All right, right here. So we got, bitch, fuck off. So yeah, we got the Lego City Bulldozer. This is 682 pieces, so a little bit more, but not by much. $70. Motherfucker, I don't care about your bargain barn. Get the fuck out here. All right, you got the Lego Classic Large Crib Box, 790 pieces, is $60. This is 742 pieces, and that's $110. All right, so it seems like we have a rough idea of pieces to price ratio.
The entry.
And while we got pieces to price ratio, we got Runaway Vagabond for a 5-banger. I would say most toys now are made for millennials and older, since most kids are on tablets and phones. They is going after the toy buying market. I would say you're exactly correct. And again, I'm a toy collector. Obviously, I'm a toy collector. You can look at all that shit over there. Shit behind me, what you guys don't see, I've got like the ceiling, or like where my wall meets the ceiling is lined with action figures in their original packaging. So yeah, as a toy collector, I 100% agree with your sentiment. Lego is one of those things that, like, and don't get me wrong, there's still kids that play with Lego. I'm sure younger kids, sure parents still play it with them, but by and large, the market has shifted. Like, for better or worse, the market has shifted. So tapping in and capitalizing on that market and whatnot, look, I'm pro capitalism.
$60 for one Pokemon
Appreciate
that's
you.
7 inches tall. And then there's Pikachu and the Pokeball. 2,050 pieces. It is $200.
All right, so 2,050 pieces. Like, guys, that's a lot of fucking pieces. That's a lot of pieces. So, all right, let's do a 2,000 piece set. All right, Brickopedia. This does not give us prices, so let's not use Brickopedia. Over $2,000 price. I don't fucking know about none of that. Here we go. Let's do Amazon. All right, let's. Need to make sure none of my personal info shows up. So let's not do Amazon. I don't want to get Zaxxed. Let's see. Alrighty, here we go. Is this how much pieces it's got? Let's check. Yeah, pieces. This is 1,100. Okay, so yeah, that's the pieces we need. So how much was the Pikachu one? It is over 2,000 pieces. All right. So we got this one here that's 1,000 pieces, 1,100, $120. 3,400 is 250. All right, so this one's 200. Is there a way to, man, is there a way to search by brick count? That would be convenient. That would be real convenient. Values. Oh, I don't give a fuck about your values. That's not what I meant. That's not what I thought you meant. Shop by. Damn. Says by theme. Says by age. Ah, here we go. Bricks and pieces. Pieces by category? Is that... Nope, nope. That's not what we want. Damn. Try Bricklink? Alright, let's see if there's something for a Bricklink here. Real quick, alright. Mario and Standard Cart. Let's see. How much is... how many pieces is this? Alright, so this is almost the same. 2,000 pieces. $170. $170. Alright, so that's one. Let's see. That's the Millennium Falcon 2000. You said try Bricklink. Bricklink. Okay. Oh wait, this is items released in 2000. I was released in 2000. Yeah, nah, Bricklink, I don't think is gonna give us what we want. See if I switch to shopping and see if it gives us what we're looking for. Yeah, let's see, Avengers Tower. That's eBay, damn it. What's this one right here? Lego.com for more. Let's Lego architecture. Yeah, Lego.com. How much is this one? This is 3,500 pieces, and it is almost $300. I mean, so far, it seems like this is pretty consistent with Lego's normal pricing. Seems like this is pretty consistent with Lego's normal pricing.
For Pikachu, the mascot, the one on every piece of merchandise since 1996, $200. Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, 6,838 pieces, $650. The Kanto starters.
Nearly 7,000 pieces. We looked up, we did those ones earlier with like the Millennium Falcon and the Death Star. Saras was talking about how those are massive piece counts. By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen the size of this one. This bitch is sizable. Now, I wouldn't spend no fucking $650 on this. I do think it's too much, obviously. But we'll see what Wizard has to say.
The ones you chose in 1996 when you were 8 years old. The ones that defined your childhood. $650. The total to own all three is $909. Nearly $1,000, not including taxes. Oh, but wait! If you buy the $650 set, you get a free Kanto badge collection.
Bitch, I don't need no free Kanto badge collection. Boy got all the badges he needs right here. There we go, right there. Don't need no fucking... I got my badges, bitch.
It's 312 pieces, 8 gym badges. What a steal. And if you're a LEGO Insider member, meaning you've already given LEGO enough money to earn 2,500 loyalty points, you can redeem a mini Pokémon Center, which is 233 pieces. This is how they're celebrating 30 years of Pokémon. This is the thank you that the fans who made this franchise get. Eat it up, slurp it down, and be grateful. Put $650 in perspective here because I need you to feel this. For $650, the cost of one Lego set with 3 Pokemon in it, you could instead buy a Nintendo Switch OLED and 3 full games, an entire console, multiple complete gaming experiences, and hundreds of hours of entertainment. Or you can get a Steam Deck, a portable gaming PC, access to your entire Steam library anywhere you go. Or every mainline Pokemon game released in the last 5 years, plus all their DLC. Scarlet, Violet, Legends Arceus, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Sword, Shield, and all the expansions. Every single one. Or, here's another option, a family vacation, hotel, gas, food, activities, actual memories with your actual family. Last one, and bear with me.
See, I find that to be a very disingenuous argument. For $650, you get this almost 8,000 piece Lego set that you can build with your kids if you got them. Like, that's a family memory. Like the idea, yeah, traveling with family is great. I've done it. I love doing it. I would rather do that than buy this set. But I mean, like, I used to do Legos with my dad. That was something he and I would do together. Actually, mostly did with my mom, to be fair. But yeah, like, it was a lot of Bionicles. I got the Lego R2-D2 that was like a foot fucking tall when I was in like 3rd grade, I believe. Me and my mom built that together. That seems to me to be a disingenuous argument, especially considering, let's say millennials are the target audience here, as you guys were saying in chat. That means millennials grew up with Pokemon. Likely their kids are also into Pokemon. That's a shared mutual interest.
Here, you could buy a Nintendo Switch 2 Mario Kart bundle and the newest Pokemon Legends ZA experience, plus the DLC. That's the newest modern gaming Nintendo system and the newest Pokemon game. And you will still have money left over for that NSO subscription if you didn't get like a Costco bundle. That's the opportunity cost. That's what you're giving up. Not just 650.
But see, I wouldn't say that's what you're giving up. This is very disingenuous framing. So there's a value proposition here. There are people that are, Pokemon is the largest IP in the world, right? Pokemon is the single largest IP in the world. That's the card game, the video games, the anime, all the merch, all that stuff. I used to play the Pokemon card game. And not just collect the cards, actually play the fucking card game. I knew people that played the card game that didn't play the fucking video games, or that didn't watch the anime. They were just into the cards, or they were only into 2 of the 3 or whatnot. You know, I absolutely knew people that was, on the playground back in the day that watched the anime, never once played the games about the cards. Because Pokemon is such a vast IP, it's segmented. But you got LEGO fans who might be into the LEGO aspect that don't care about the video games. So again, there's versatility to this that I don't think Wizard is, at least so far, either considering or being honest about.
Bucks in cash, $650 in experiences.
Yeah, we'll get the collectible stuff in a bit. I see you guys making
time with your family for 3 plastic Pokemon that sit on a shelf if you open the box and assemble them. This isn't a luxury hobby purchase. This is financial self-harm at this point.
I mean, it kind of is a luxury hobby purchase, though. Someone in the chat mentioned Gundam kits. Let's take a look at that. Average price of a Gundam, what are they called? Model. Gundam model prices vary widely from under $10 for simple entry grade kits to over $100 for master grade or perfect grade kits with a popular high grade. Real grade models typically fall between 50 and 60, depending on complexity, like 1/44th scale, 1/144, the 1/100th series. You can find basic beginner-friendly kits, 20. Perfect grade, 200 plus, premium, huge, extremely detailed, and expensive. Yeah, I mean, again, I've bought fucking action figures that I've never taken out of the package for over 200 fucking bucks. I almost went over 600 bucks on a Leon S. Kennedy action figure at one point that was super rare, limited edition. My roommate taught me out of it. He was probably smart to do so. But the point is, this is a luxury purchase. How much people spend collecting cards, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer? Yeah, dude, if you had to ask me how much money I spent on Magic the Gathering in my lifetime before I started to boycott Wizards of the Coast about 5 years ago, I would shudder to think of that cost.
But let's talk about that commercial again, because I need you to understand what they're doing here. This is marketing. The ad shows an adult, a millennial, someone in their 30s, stressed, overwhelmed, surrounded by paperwork, bills, taxes, the imagery of someone drowning in the responsibilities of adult life. And then salvation. They're building Lego Pokemon. The stress melts away. They're a kid again. They're happy. Do you understand what message that sends? Hey, millennial, we know your generation got shafted. Student debt, housing crisis, wages that don't match inflation. We know you're stressed. We know you're struggling. But look, remember Pokemon? Remember when life was good? You remember Charizard? Well, give us $650 and you could pretend it still is. Just ignore those responsibilities on your desk. Buy this plastic crap instead. This is a disgusting marketing strategy that and I hope you start using this phrase after I tell you here, because it is starting to catch on. This is nostalgia laundering.
Again, except I don't think it is. I mean, yes, there is the nostalgia aspect to it from the marketing and whatnot. He is correct. But we just looked at a bunch of Lego sets, and there were several of them that weren't license-based. They were just regular Lego sets, like fucking trucks and boats and shit. And they were priced absolutely comparably.
Something emotionally priceless, perhaps your childhood memories, your connection to these characters, the joy you felt discovering Pokemon for the first time, and converting it into a premium SKU number. They're monetizing your emotions. They're putting a price tag on your past. They're not.
So they're doing what all companies that sell stuff have always done. They're marketing. Yeah, exactly, Valiant Goat. It sounds normal to me. Like, even prior to us being in such financial dire straits that we're in now as a country, really as a world, this is always how it's been.
Celebrating your childhood, they're liquidating it. And the price is a feature, not a bug. Because it costs $650, it must be premium. It must be special. It must be worth it. You ain't buying a Lego set. You're buying feelings, and they're charging you $650 for emotions you used to get for free when you were 8 years old with a Game Boy and a dream. And I can already see some of the comments.
Yeah, the feelings were free to you because you were a kid, but there was still money spent to have those feelings, oftentimes by your parents, or maybe by yourself with your allowance that you got, mowing lawns and shit. And like how much was Pokemon Red on release? Like, what was the cost? Let's see. How much did Pokemon Red... Oh, there we go. Red cost in 1998. Typically cost around $29.99 at major retailers like Walmart, and that was in 1998. So let's see how much that is with inflation. Inflation calculator. Let's see, we got... There we go. 1998. Let's do $30. 60, same as, games now, give or take. Same as games now, give or take. A handheld Game Boy Color game. Not even Game Boy Color, I don't think. I'm pretty sure the red and blue are just Game Boy. So you've got a Game Boy game that costed what would amount to about $60 in 1998. Like, I don't think Wizard is making a very compelling argument here at all, aside from nostalgia marketing bad, which, yeah, I don't like that we live in this, like, nostalgia pandering world. I agree with him. But that's not a strong enough argument, especially when these sorts of marketing practices have been around for ages.
Forming here. Wizard, actually, the price per piece it's competitive. The flagship set is 9.5 cents per piece. That's better than the Millennium Falcon. This is actually good value if you understand Lego economics. Stop. Listen to yourself. Price per piece is a metric that adult Lego collectors invented to justify spending hundreds of dollars on toys. It's a rationalization mechanism. It's the language of addiction dressed up as analysis. Well, if you calculate the price per piece and factor in the promotional gift with purchase and amortize the insider point value across the total bill, you sound like a gambling addict explaining why the casino is actually a good investment. A kid does...
I completely disagree. As somebody who actually spent a lot of time in casinos, again, grew up lived on the Cherokee Nation, lived in Oklahoma for a long time, spent a lot of time in casinos. Casinos are literally there just as a way to make you their entire business model is you pay us for literally nothing. You pay us for the minuscule upon minuscule chance that you will come out with more money. Guess what? That's a statistical near impossibility. Why do you think when you go to Vegas and they got all the extravagant hotels and casinos and shit, that's because they take in way more money from losers than they dish out in winners. As opposed to here, a hobby product, and hobby products have always existed, whether it be, let's say you're a hobbyist for guns, right? Guns are pretty fucking expensive. Now you can make the argument there's practical utility to guns. Yeah, there is obviously practical utility to guns. That being said, if you are a gun hobbyist, then the practical utility doesn't go much further beyond, like, maybe competition shooting. You're not going to use by and large, your competition shooting gun for home defense. You probably got other guns for home defense that you haven't invested all the extra money into to make it a legitimate competition shooter firearm. So, like, any hobby activity has its, cost-benefit analysis, has the economics behind it. If this was any other set and it was something that wasn't Nintendo-related or Pokemon-related or something that Wizard doesn't cover, let's say this was, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's say this was Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think this would have even been on Wizard's radar, and I don't think this video would exist. And I love you, Wizard. You're my boy. You're my homie. But so far, this is an L.
Doesn't know what price per piece means. A kid sees Charizard and says, "Daddy, I want that." And now Papa looks at the price tag and says, "Absolutely not. That costs more than your birthday, Christmas, and 3 months of day-to-day raising your sorry ass combined, kiddo." LEGO and Pokémon are explicitly telling you these are not for children, these are for adults. Their games are rated E for everyone, and each new game entry remains accessible in playability for children.
All right, now I will agree with his point here that this specific thing that LEGO's offering is not for children, it is for adults. I will agree with that. However, once again, Pokemon is the largest IP in the world. You don't get to be the largest IP in the world by marketing only to children. You market to everybody. The audience you have had for 30 years now who were children 30 years ago. So, yeah, the games are for kids. In fact, these games ain't even for kids anymore. They're too easy even for fucking kids. But again, the trading card game. You see a lot of adults at the Pokemon trading card game. You don't see a lot of, like, elementary schoolers competing at the tournament level, when it comes to the TCG.
The anime airs on children's networks. Have you seen Pokemon Horizons on Netflix lately? That crap is children.
Yeah, but the manga is for adults. Well, teenagers, I should say. But, the point is, not your elementary schooler. The manga, you got Pokemon fucking murdering other Pokemon, and you've got government conspiracies, and you've got trainers murking other trainers. Like, the manga gets fucking dark. It is not for kids. So, again, Pokemon and the Pokemon Company and Nintendo understand that Pokemon is an all-ages market, and certain items are going to be for one demographic, while some items are going to be for another. I mean, dude, Mortal Kombat is for adults. Mortal Kombat rated immature. It's the game that gave us the ESRB. There was still a Mortal Kombat Kids Saturday morning cartoon and kids-oriented toys. Fucking Rambo and Terminator got kids' toys in the 80s. Those weren't for kids. The point is, if you've got an IP that can make money, you're going to farm out that IP to a bunch of different demographics to make the most amount of money possible.
Slop. Pokemon Horizons makes Ash Ketchum look like Confucius, Aristotle, and Albert Einstein combined. Look, this is a children's franchise, no? I mean, anytime I criticize Pokemon, I get Nintendo or Pokemon.
Excellent. That's an excellent comparison, Vagabond. Ninja Turtles comic was for adults. The Ninja Turtles cartoon, absolutely not.
On White Knights with prolapse rectums in my comments reminding me that this has always been a children's franchise. And in this case, I agree with them. Pokemon has spent 30 years telling parents, this is safe for your kids. This is good for your kids. Buy this for your kids. And now those same parents are being told this is not for your kids unless you're loaded. And it gets even a little more disgusting. Before LEGO, Pokemon had a building block partner. Mega Constructs, owned by Mattel, made officially licensed Pokemon sets for years. And they were affordable. They were accessible. And they were for kids. You can get them in Target. A Jumbo Pikachu from Mega Constructs, 800 pieces for $50. Buildable Pokemon that children could actually own. Starter sets for $20. Blind boxes for $5. That's what accessibility looks like. That's what celebrating a franchise looks like. But that line was discontinued December 2025, and now we have this. Pokemon wants adult collectors paying premium prices for display pieces that sit on shelves and appreciate in value. If you open the box, yeah, this ain't about play anymore. It certainly isn't about creativity. It's not about inspiring the next generation or connecting families through shared experiences. This is about shareholders. It's about margins. This is about extracting the
But so is everything, even stuff that are for kids are still about. Again, back to Vagabond in the chats, his argument earlier about when he brought up Ninja Turtles. Dude, they constructed the toys first and built the show around the toy line. Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s did the exact same thing. Toys first, then show built around the toy line. G.I. Joe did the same thing. He-Man did the same thing. Transformers did the same thing. Why? Because that's also about shareholders. It's about making money. It's about trying to capitalize on things that will sell. The whole reason cartoons exist, or at least, used to exist, I don't know about nowadays since people aren't buying toys, but the whole reason cartoons existed in the 80s and 90s was to sell toy. Let me tell you guys a little anecdotal story. My favorite video game of all time. My favorite video game of all time is Sonic Adventure. I've mentioned this a million times. My favorite video game of all time is Sonic Adventure. Now, the voice actor that plays Sonic in that game, Ryan Drummond, He was told by some Sega marketing execs that the depending on how the game sold, that it's possible that we would get an animated series, that he would also be signed on to play Sonic for the animated series. So several months go by, and he hasn't heard any word on the animated series. So he calls up his agent to figure out what's going on with the animated series. And he's like, there's not going to be one. And Ryan Drummond was like, what do you mean there's not going to be an animated series? The game's selling exceedingly well. He's like, exactly. We don't need to market the game based off the series because the game's already selling. Producing the cartoon for kids would effectively be a loss leader for a game that's already destroying on the market. So, yeah. Like again, this is... What Wizards is explaining here is literally nothing new.
The absolute maximum from a captive audience that has been emotionally invested in this franchise since childhood. And they're laughing at you. They're literally laughing at you in the commercials.
I did not know that Tiger
stressed
King, but I'm not
millennial
surprised.
escaping their sad life by buying our plastic. Isn't he adorable? Now pay up, piggy. But you know, like, Lego knows how to do accessible celebrations. They've done it before. They chose not to do it here. Look at Lego Super Mario. That line launched in 2020 with starter sets at $60, expansion packs at $30, character packs at $5, multiple price tiers, play-focused design, kid accessibility built into every decision. A child could start with a $60 set and expand over time with birthday money and holidays. Families could participate.
Yeah, but again, maybe he'll mention it because I paused it, and you know, if he does mention it, fair enough. But the Mario set that we just brought up, literally like 10, 20 minutes ago on stream, was I think it was like $170 or $200 or whatever Mario set for the big Mario. So it's not like this Mario set was exclusively for kids either. They had adult price options as well.
Participate together here. The whole line was designed around play, not display. Look at Lego Harry Potter. Yeah, there's a $500 Hogwarts castle for the collectors, but there's also $15 poly bags, $30 small set, $50 medium sets, a full spectrum of price points so anyone can participate at their level. Look at Lego Star Wars. Some display pieces for adults are $800, sure, but also $10 battle packs, $25 buildable figures, $40 play sets. You can find Lego Star Wars in Walgreens.
So your argument is that, like, you're upsetting Spaghetti because they didn't also include something for kids? I mean, sure, you can make the argument that maybe they should have made stuff for kids. I wouldn't be opposed to that whatsoever. But there's also nothing wrong with not doing that if that's not the target demographic you're going for a 30th anniversary celebration. If you're celebrating the 30th anniversary, odds are you would want to target the folks that were there 30 years ago. Vagabond with a 5-banger. He's misremembering, too, the 90s Burger King promo for the gold Pokemon cards was not a kid's purchase item. Yeah, that's actually true. Weren't those an extra purchase? Like, you got your like Burger King kids meal or whatever, and there was like an extra $5 purchase or whatnot to get the gold cards, or maybe it was even more than that. But yeah, no, you're entirely correct. Those weren't just the toy that came with the meal. You had to buy those separate, if I recall.
Lego knows how to include kids. They chose not to here. For Pokemon's 30th anniversary, a franchise built on children, Lego launches 3 sets, all 18 plus, all priced for adult collectors, zero
Pokemon's been around since 96.
Options for kids. But you know what happens next. Of course you do. And many of you have already said this in the comments without watching to this point in the video. These sets are going to sell out, not because millions of fans are buying them to build and enjoy, but because scalpers are going to hoard them. The same people who caused...
Now this, I'll agree with him on. And here, I will likely agree with him on, because the scalp market for anything collectible, especially Pokemon, because Pokemon, the trading card game, is fucking ridiculous.
Fist fights at Target over Pokemon card restocks. The same people who made trading cards inaccessible for actual children or people who play the game. The same people who turned a children's hobby into a speculator's market. They're coming...
Okay, I'll push back a little bit there. Yes, Pokemon the trading card game, you could say was a children's hobby. I learned how to play the game when I was in, like, I think 3rd grade or so. Then I started getting really into the game. Started actually going to tournaments by about 5th grade. Started actually playing in Pokemon tournaments. And the only reason that I don't do it now, like by like 6th or 7th grade or whatever, I moved on to Magic the Gathering, which was just a much better, much more fun, much more competitive game. But the tournament scene was mostly older kids and adults. Even at the 5th grade metric, I was one of the youngest ones there. So, like, the competitive trading card games it's not just a children's hobby. By the way, how many children, I wager was the vast majority of you guys in the comments actually had the cards but didn't even know how to play the fucking game. I was a minority in my school in that I knew how to actually play it.
For LEGO now. Actually, that's a massive understatement. They're already here. Scalpers have been in LEGO for a while. These sets will hit eBay for likely thousands of dollars. The limited edition Kanto badge collection here will sell for $200 at minimum, probably a lot more. The scalpers will make their money. The investors will keep their sets sealed for appreciation. And the fans, the actual fans who love Pokemon for 30 years, well, they'll be priced out again. Still, like forever. LEGO sets have become investment vehicles. Studies show they appreciate at 11% annually. Better than gold, better than bonds, better than stocks. Now, I'm no investment advisor. I'm just a fake wizard. But holy crap, you gotta see these LEGO prices, man. And the scalpers know this. The investors know this. And LEGO and Pokemon, they don't care. Sold is sold. Money is money. Whether it's a fan building Charizard with their kids or a speculator storing sealed boxes in a climate-controlled warehouse, the revenue is identical. So you have two outcomes. You either pay $650 retail and feel like you're being mugged, or miss out, wait, and perhaps pay $1,000 plus to some opportunist on eBay who never had any intention of opening the box. Either way, someone's getting rich off your childhood, and it ain't you, buddy. But hey, now.
I fail to see a problem with that. Maybe I'm just too pro-capitalism, but I don't give a fuck if someone gets rich off what I choose to spend my money on. If like, as long as I, again, because there's a value proposition to it, and if the value is there by, whatever subjective measure that I see. And again, I'm using myself here as as an example. Again, I wouldn't buy this. I do think it's too expensive. There's one of the reasons I don't do Legos anymore. I used to be a huge Lego fiend. Bionicle, I think, is one of the coolest IPs of all time. I'm a massive Bionicle fan. And read all the fucking comics, got the movies, the video games, all the fucking toys. Like, I'm a massive Bionicle fan. One of the most underrated IP of all time. That being said, I don't do Lego anymore. I haven't for a really long time. And a lot of it's due to space issues. A lot of it's due to the fact that Lego has gotten too expensive. But Lego's gotten too expensive in general. The Pokemon stuff is kind of irrelevant to that.
Now, this is a pattern, isn't it? Nintendo, partial owner of the Pokemon Company, has been on a very specific trajectory. Mario Kart World, $80. The first Nintendo game to break the $70 barrier. And what happened? People screamed, drop the price! And then the Switch 2 bundle sold out in seconds. All bark, no action. Nintendo Switch 2, $450 for the console, $90 for Joy-Cons that aren't even Hall effect drift proof. Variable pricing, that means games could cost anywhere from $60 to who knows what, because they haven't set a benchmark. Ain't that right, Doug? Nintendo Switch Online, a subscription service that charges you monthly to rent games you used to own. And now, LEGO Pokemon sets at $650. But here's why this is happening. Every corporate executive in the world is watching. They're all on the edge of their seats. Can Nintendo and its partners pull this off? Can LEGO pull this off? Can they charge these prices and still sell out? Corporate will continue raising the price ceiling to see if you're dumb enough to keep buying. They do this with gaming and consoles. They do this with Pokemon cards. They do it with, well, actually, they do it with everything in this economy, not just in.
Exactly. Here, I finally agree with Wizard. They do it with everything. They do it with everything. So at this point, unless you just stop buying anything that makes you happy, and at this point, like, limit yourself to only purchasing fucking groceries, Man, I don't know what to tell you, because you got to get value out of something, right? You got to get value out of something. Now, whether what you get value out of is watching live streamers and sending super chats, or whether you get value out of buying Legos, that way you can build them because it's something that you can do to relax after work, I don't really see a difference, because people aren't going to be fulfilled just going to work, coming home, buying groceries and whatnot, and not actually doing anything to give them some sort of momentary mental, emotional, physical, whatever reprieve.
Nintendo, not just gaming, but that's a topic for another video. They keep raising their prices little by little, or now a lot by a lot, to see if the addicted consumers are going to stop shooting up and get treated. Because if they can get away with it, like, if you let them, the prices will continue to go up everywhere. This is the playbook. So let the playbook continue then. Today it's Lego Pokemon at $650. Tomorrow it's Lego Zelda and a Hyrule Castle. Maybe a Breath of the Wild diorama, $700 for adult collectors. Next year it's Lego Mario Kart full-scale Rainbow Road display piece, $800. A premium nostalgia experience. Then it's Lego Metroid, Lego Animal Crossing, Lego Kirby, all 500 plus, all 18 plus, all designed for display, not foreplay. And that's funny. And suddenly premium. It's not display, it's foreplay. That's funny. All right, be serious.
Well done.
This isn't hypothetical.
Well done.
This is the trajectory. And it's not.
War Wizard member for 6 months says, you think we didn't catch that, but we did. Unfortunately, this member message is already paid for. Griff Griff. Shout out. Well done.
Oh, we're so cooked, man. Oh man. I don't know if I'm gonna leave this in, but that was.
No, I'm glad you left it in. That was
And
good.
suddenly premium nostalgia isn't the exception. It's the norm. Every beloved franchise becomes a luxury product. Every childhood memory gets a price tag, and the price keeps climbing because you keep paying. This isn't a hypothetical. This is the trajectory, and it's not just Lego. It is everything, man. Wake up. This is what happens when consumers don't push back. When
See, he says wake up, but like, I don't think there's anybody in the world, at least the vast majority of folk, that don't know this already. Excuse me. But the game is rigged against you. You can say your only option is not to play, and that's fair. Don't play. Everybody else is gonna play. I don't see a realistic way to convince folks at the metric needed to actually affect this to not play the same game. And even then, again, if it's like this with every product, every IP, anything that costs money outside of essential, so effectively any luxury ever, you would need effectively the global populace of at least the first world to get behind this we're not going to buy it mentality. I like, really the only, I think, feasible option, the only realistic option is accelerationism, to the point where these companies price everything so far out of reach for the vast majority of folk that they have no choice but to bring everything down. And which might be the way we're headed already. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I'm struggling to find the argument that he's making beyond this sucks, and which, yeah, it might suck, but again, the value is, what you value is subjective.
They slurp up whatever corporations feed them and ask for more. You think $650 is the ceiling? There is no ceiling. There is no point where these corporations say, you know what? Enough's enough. We're good. Corporations don't work that way. Shareholders don't work that way. The number only goes up until you say no. But a lot of you won't say no. Because it's Pokemon. Because it's your childhood. Because you're nostalgic and stressed and desperate for something that feels good. And they know it. And they're counting on it. They're monetizing it. So here's where we are. Lego and Pokemon have made their choices. They've chosen premium pricing. That's not exactly new, but they've chosen adult collectors over kids and families. And now you have your choice to make. If you're angry about this, if you think that it's wrong, you know what you can do. You can fight back by choosing not to participate. Like, that's the foundation. But let me give you more than just don't buy. Don't buy at launch. Even if you want these sets, like, don't feed the day one frenzy. Don't validate a $650 price point. Wait for clearance, wait for sales, make them feel resistance. Don't buy from scalpers. I know it's tempting when retail sells out, but don't do it. Every dollar you give a scalper is a signal that this system works. Let them sit on their inventory and hopefully let them eat a loss. Also, support accessible alternatives. Buy from brands that do tiered pricing. Buy from companies that remember kids exist. Reward the behavior you want to see more of. And also, talk to parents. If you know families with kids who love Pokemon, warn them. Tell them about the mega construction sets. Tell them about other options. Don't let them walk into a LEGO store expecting a fun time. And finally, make noise. Post on social media. Talk about it. Keep talking about it. Let LEGO and Pokemon know that this pricing strategy has consequences. Corporations respond to pressure when it's loud enough and sustained enough. You're not powerless. You have a choice. You have a wallet and you have a voice. Use them.
Vagabond for a 5-banger says, here is where he is also wrong. Pokemon base core, besides advanced rock, paper, scissors, is about collecting and limited. Honestly, you're right. The core values of the Pokemon, like, games and mythos and whatnot, actually does kind of coincide with what LEGO is doing. In a funny, roundabout way, you are correct, Vagabond. Shout out.
Even if it's just you. I'm just a dude with a frumpy wizard outfit and a microphone. There's only one of me. I don't care if every comment complains about me. I don't care how many subreddits they want to complain about me on. I won't be silenced. And I'll stand alone if I have to, even if just for my conscience. You can do the same thing, maybe just not wearing the frumpy wizard outfit. Pokemon is 30 years old. I know. I was there at the beginning. I played Yellow and Silver myself. I watched the anime. I saw the first 3 films in theaters. I collected the cards. I loved Pokemon. And now I watch corporations look at that love, at our collective love, and see nothing but dollar signs, revenue streams, and extraction opportunities. Every property we loved as children is being monetized to death, brutalized, squeezed until there's nothing left but premium price nostalgia for people who can't let go. I feel nothing for these properties anymore. Not because of age, not because I've changed, but because every single franchise that meant something has been taken over by corporate fat cats who see our emotional connection as a weakness to exploit. LEGO Pokemon isn't a celebration here. It's a symptom, and it's proof that nothing is sacred, that everything you loved can and will be turned into a luxury product designed to extract maximum revenue from your desperation to feel something good again. This set will sell out. The scalpers will profit.
Hey, link me when you do, Vagabond. I would love to watch it.
Next year or next week, the prices will be even higher. That's the future, unless you choose differently. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire others to do so as well. And for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus.
So yeah, that's the end of that one. I mean, good. Wizard's a friend of mine. Wizard's a friend of mine. We frequently disagree. We also frequently do agree. And that's just, the way it goes. I don't think this video is a good video. Obviously, I linked it in the chat for you guys because, at the end of the day, whether we agree or disagree, I always say at the end of my videos, diversity of thought's what matters. And I think that's still true here. Diversity of thought does matter. So, give the video whatever you think is, good, a like. If you think it, deserves a dislike or whatnot, sub to him because he is a good dude. But yeah, I would make the argument that the reason this video doesn't work, the reason I think this video is a failure, is because he gets his premise wrong. I actually reject Wizard's premise from the beginning. I would agree with you, Rabnad, that he did make a few good points. In fact, the good points he made are the ones that didn't have to do with LEGO or didn't have to do with Pokemon, but they were about the business world as a whole. He's not inherently wrong when it comes to business strategies, the marketing, things to that effect. But the premise of his video is that Pokemon is not for kids anymore, and that this Lego Pokemon collaboration, proves that. Now, the reason I reject that premise is because Pokemon hasn't been exclusively for kids for a very long time. When you've got an IP that is 30 years old, it's celebrating its 30th anniversary, you do in some way, shape, or form have to grow with your audience. Think of the Harry Potter books. Think about what J.K. Rowling did. When she wrote the first Harry Potter book, and Harry is 11 years old, and it comes out in 1999 or whatever year it came out, and she releases books and books and books, and you grew with Harry and with the crew. You grew with the Hogwarts cast. The books grew with you. So they get more mature and they get darker to the point where you now have multiple demographics that are Harry Potter fans. So you're going to have to put out multiple products for those Harry Potter fans. You've got, the little play sets for kids, and you've got the video games for kids. You've also got, Harry Potter themed cocktails and stuff like that, which are obviously for adults. You've got the really incredibly expensive, movie quality wands that you could buy for a couple $100, and those were a thing even in 2005 or 3. I remember looking at them in catalogs. You got Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit. Look, board games have always been relatively a medium price for premium licensed IP board games. Trivial Pursuit has always been a very more adult oriented game in terms of its rule set and stuff. So at the end of the day, if you're going to be a large IP that has a large audience, then it's never going to exclusively be just for those kids anymore, even if it was originally a kid's IP. We've used Ninja Turtles a lot in today's talk. Ninja Turtles is another one. When they did the Last Ronin comic book is not for kids. It is for the kids, the people that were kids when Ninja Turtles was, at its apex, that are adults now. You're talking about a dystopian future where all the turtles but one are dead, and there's violence, and there's swearing. That's not for kids. It's A-okay to have products that are for different demographics. I'm going to check real quick. How long has Pokemon been the #1 IP in the world? Pokemon has been the world's highest grossing media franchise for several years. I need to say several years. Give me actually when. At least as early as 2021, but I bet it was earlier than that. Let's see. Oh shit, it may have been 2001? Wait, really? Really? I mean, it's worth $115 billion. So I don't know how long it's been at the top of the food chain, but it's been at the top of the food chain for a long fucking time. And if that's the case, then you're obviously going to... First of all, you don't get to be the #1 highest selling IP of all time. The franchise worth the most money of all franchises ever, unless you know how to monetize it. So this weird, when Wizard's talking at the end, he used to love Pokemon. I used to love Pokemon as well. I don't like Pokemon that much anymore. I still got nostalgia for Pokemon. I still love Gen 3, Gen 1, Gen 2. I like the older anime. I remember seeing Pokemon, the first movie in theaters. The first movie my dad ever took me to see. My dad took me to see Pokemon 2000 at the drive-in. I still have and cherish all those memories. I don't really like Pokemon nowadays. Why? Because the games fucking suck. Because the love and care that used to be put into those games aren't there anymore. So I get that argument that he's making. But let's not pretend like they were doing it for the love of the game, that they were just in there, this is what's going to be best for the kids. It's still a business. It was always a business, and you always have to market it as a business and sell things as a business. You don't get to be #1 unless you've always been doing that. So I reject his premise from the outset that Pokemon's not for kids anymore, because there are still God knows how many Pokemon products that are for kids, whether it be bed sets, whether it be the games themselves, whether it be trading card game booster packs, whether it be plushies that are, $12.99 or whatnot. And even the plushie market's gone up. Man, when I was a kid, plushies were $6. They're more doubled, tripled in price now. Plushies be $19, $30, shit like that now for some of the quote-unquote premium ones. So yeah, for them to offer a 30th anniversary Lego set that's, a premium product. Would it be nice if there was a child-friendly kids option? Sure, I'm not saying it wouldn't. But I also don't see this as some, massive inherent problem with Nintendo or with Pokemon, especially when we look at LEGO themselves. And we looked at the pricing of LEGO while we were reacting to this, and even the non-licensed, non-IP based things that LEGO was selling, by and large, had a lot, or at least very similar costs. So yeah, I think that was an L video from Wizard. I really do. I definitely think that was an L take from Wizard. So that's all I got to say on that. But I do still love Wizard. He's still a good dude. Still like a lot of his videos. Still gonna be streaming with him on SNH because again, we don't gotta agree. But with that being said, I think it's time to wrap it up. So definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We just gained a whole lot of new subscribers because the video I dropped today has been doing banger numbers. If you've not watched these videos, check that out. But yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I gotta be on the Dooley show later, so I'm out of like 4 circles.